Welcome back to Everyday Faith Day number 3. My name is Ricky. If you haven't been able to catch up on some of the previous videos, glad that you're joining us today as we continue with our stories theme. We have a simple quote today. It says this: the struggle is part of the story. The struggle is part of the story. Now, I would consider myself a relatively successful person. Bear with me because that sounds almost really arrogant now that I just said that out loud. But I would consider myself a relatively successful person. What I mean by that is I grew up in a single-parent household. I didn't have access or means financially or educationally to some of the other things or other opportunities that some of my peers did. I had to pay my way through college. I was the first person in my family to graduate from a U.S.-based school or U.S.-based university, and kind of work my way through different jobs and ministry opportunities. Didn't have an example of a family, like a kind of a whole household, but now I have a wife and a daughter and doing my best to lead my family. So I would say all those things, to me would measure up and say, like that's success. Like I've done good in that. And what's funny is that like that stuff all really matters to me. But here's where I kind of want to flip it. The reason that matters is because I know what struggle is. And I understand, like I've had struggle in my own story. And so you see what I'm saying? Like if I didn't have this struggle part of my life, like if I didn't have the challenges of growing up in a single parent household, if I didn't have the challenges of being an ethnic minority in my upbringing, if I didn't have the challenges of trying to figure out financially how to make life work, and if I didn't have challenges or the struggle of like what does it look like to lead a family or to serve a family, I really wouldn't understand or fully appreciate the success that I have, or the success that I've been privileged and graced to experience in my life. Now, it doesn't mean that like the struggle is what contributed to the success. It's just that I value and appreciate the successful things in my life because of the struggle. And I think one of the things in our stories that we have to get comfortable with is that the struggle is part of our story. In fact, the struggle is what lends us the appreciation to the successes. You think about like Romeo and Juliet, right? Like here's a story that most of us are familiar with. What made that story matter was that there was a tension, there was a struggle, there was something that like was a conflict, a challenge between this couple, right? They one had everything and one didn't. And so while you're rooting for Romeo is like, you're like, oh man, I want him to get the girl. I want him to succeed in this because he doesn't deserve it, or he didn't come from that. And yet if it was flipped, if like Romeo was like this wealthy prince and had everything, and like Juliet had everything, and they lived happily ever after, there would be like, okay, that's a terrible story. The struggle is what makes the story. The struggle is what makes the story captivating. It's what makes it important. It's what makes it significant. And it's what makes it relevant to the people around us. So yeah, I can gloat in my successes if I want. But the fact of the matter is that my successes matter to me because of the struggle that I've experienced and the challenges that it's taken to get there. So as we own our stories, let's get comfortable embracing the struggle. It's not fun. It's not something we're proud of. It's just something that is a reality that allows us to experience and enjoy the successes that God wants to give us. But it's only when we have them together. So let that encourage you guys today. I'll be back here with you guys tomorrow as we continue day 4. And let us know, again, if you have a story you want to write to us, you can email it at support@faithbox.com. We'd love to read it. We'd love to hear it. And we'd love to celebrate with you as God is working in your story. See you guys tomorrow.